Yeah, and not everyone around you will understand what you're going through, and you have to just accept that. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Chats with Dylan Nav. I'm Dr. Dylan Cahill,
And I'm Dr. Naveed Ghaffari.
and today we wanted to talk about a less discussed topic in the whole med school application process.
Yes, what we want to talk about is just the realities of going through the application cycle and what that process is like mentally and emotionally. So we want to talk about three things. One, just the reality of the cycle. Two, the help and support you can get from others. And three, what you can do for yourself. So first point is just accepting that this is going to be an unfortunately long process. You've already worked several years as a pre-med to want to get to this goal of getting to med school.
It's been 84 years.
You're finally here of submitting your primary and soon submitting your secondary. And now there's going to be waiting. There's going to be some twists and turns. You might realize there were some requirements for some schools, especially now with Casper and some of these other tests. You realize that maybe a certain school requires something you didn't do and you have to decide what to do about it. So I would say just realizing that there's going to be moving pieces, that there's going to be periods of prolonged silence, and just having to sit with that and just know that everybody goes through this. It's definitely not fun, but it's not finite, or sorry, it's not infinite. It is
Oh,
finite.
no.
That would be bad. It's not infinite. It will come to an end. So I think just main point here being a radical acceptance that this is going to be a long and tough process.
Yeah, and not everyone around you will understand what you're going through, and you have to just accept that. Especially if your family doesn't have a ton of physicians, you're going to have to explain the process over and over again. People will gasp that this application process takes a year, but that's all right. You know that, and you're getting through it. But that kind of brings us to the second point we want to talk about, where it really is important to have people who do understand what you're going through and can support you. And so what we both recommend is having at least one, if not a small group of buddies. Ideally, like one person could be someone who's going through this process in parallel. Maybe one of your best friends from undergrad. Most of you probably do know other pre-meds that are also applying to med school in tandem right now. And you can help each other out, share secondary essays, edit each other's, and just kind of uplift each other through the highs and lows. Personally, when I was going through the process, literally one of my parents, my mom, helped me with some of the secondary essays, just being a fresh set of eyes. And, she's not a physician, she's not an admissions committee member, but just someone to give an extra pass and kind of, give me that confidence that someone else has looked at this before I submitted. And so that was reassuring. No matter who you are and kind of how isolated you might feel in this process, there will be someone that can give you some sort of moral support, if not academic support with your essays.
Yes, and that brings us to the third aspect, which is what you can do for yourself. This can mean a lot of things to different people, but it's just important to make sure that you are taking care of yourself.
The truth is, you don't have anything to give that you don't have. So you have to keep your own self full. That's your job.
Being pleasantly distracted with whatever gap year activities you have. And if you find some comfort and help from going on Reddit and some of these other online threads, that's great. We would just caution you to not spend so much time that you sort of get more alarmed or panicked or flustered, because there certainly can be a point at which it starts to become more of a detriment than a help.
In the med school application, when editing essays, I am really glad to see when someone includes a hobby. And it's not just because, that's another box to check or another essay to fill out in the application. Med schools actually want to see that you have interests and pursuits outside of academics, outside of this whole med school application process. So keep those up in your gap year. It's even great to have an outlet during whether it's a gap year that you're applying, or if you're still a student, that's keeping you engaged outside of this process. Sometimes people will sign up for their first half marathon or marathon and have that goal to be working toward in parallel. Or maybe it's just, if you like cooking with friends, whatever that is, don't lose sight of those goals, because that's going to be important keeping you through this process as well as in your future life as a medical student.
So overall, it's a long process. It's important to surround yourself with buddies and other people who care about you, to take care of yourself, and just keep reminding yourself of why you're doing this, and look forward to getting that offer hopefully sometime throughout the cycle. You'll get through it. You've got this.
You got it.